Just when you thought that things couldn't get worse for Rudy Giuliani, that is somehow exactly what happened. You might remember that at the end of 2023, he filed for bankruptcy after being hit with a $148 million defamation judgment payable to Georgia election workers Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, along with another $3 million owed to law firms that represented him in court, and $1 million in unpaid taxes to the government. I should note that Giuliani's defamation ruling is not dischargeable in bankruptcy, so him filing for Chapter 11 will have no bearing on his responsibility to pay what he owes. Now creditors are seeking to force Giuliani to sell his $3.5 million Florida condo to pay off his debts. Giuliani, for his part, is now crying poor. His attorneys are calling the request to sell his condo, quote, extremely premature, and warn that, quote, there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, in reference to his lack of funds. And yet, according to court documents, despite the sob story by Rudy Giuliani, he somehow has managed to keep up his cushy lifestyle. He reportedly spends tens of thousands of dollars a month to maintain his Florida condo. In January, he racked up more than $26,200 in credit card payments on 60 Amazon transactions, with charges for Netflix, Prime Video, Kindle, Audible, Paramount Plus, Uber rides, and more. Because who among us isn't racking up $26K in credit card charges per month, am I right? To which his attorneys explained, unfortunately, like everybody else, that's like a debit card for him. We don't believe that there's anything out of the ordinary outside of normal living expenses. See? Nothing out of the ordinary. Totally normal living expenses. Casual 26 grand on Amazon and Netflix. Very normal, says Rudy Giuliani, a regular man of the people, and definitely, totally not out of touch. Now, Giuliani is currently in the process of selling his Manhattan property to satisfy his creditors, who are also demanding that he take out homeowners insurance for both residences because, quote, if anything were to happen to either of them, meaning the Manhattan residents or the Florida residents, such loss would be a significant impediment to creditor recoveries. And yet, according to the court document, Giuliani has claimed that he cannot even afford the insurance. Perhaps a little less Amazon and a little more paying off your debts. Just, for starters. And keep in mind, things are only going to get worse for Rudy. Still pending is a lawsuit against him by his former employee Noel Dunphy for his alleged sexual harassment. Also still pending are lawsuits against him by Smartmatic and Dominion Voting Systems, with the latter having recently settled with Fox News for a record $787 million, which I'm sure doesn't exactly inspire confidence that Giuliani will be able to slither away from that one unscathed. Meaning that there will actually come a time in Giuliani's life where only owing $150 million will seem quaint. Here's my legal breakdown co-host Glenn Kirshner discussing what Giuliani's life is going to look like from here on out. We look at somebody like Rudy Giuliani, who now, to your earlier point, owes $148 million to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. How does someone get out of that hole? Like, he'll never be able to make that kind of money. So what happens to someone like that for the rest of his life?
I think you are paying out for the rest of your life. I mean, when you owe people money, some of the debts can be discharged in bankruptcy. In other words, he'll pay out pennies on the dollar. Whatever he has will be apportioned out by the court among his many creditors, the people he owes money. And then after a period of time, those debts can be discharged, even though the creditors are never made whole. But my understanding is you can't discharge a civil judgment like in a defamation case in bankruptcy. So what does that mean? It means that Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss will forever be chasing down any assets that might come Rudy Giuliani's way. You can file for liens and writs of attachment. You can garnish wages to the extent he has any wages coming in the future. And I have a feeling their lawyers, Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman's lawyers, will be dogged and will stay on top of Rudy Giuliani and make sure they can lawfully wring every penny out of him that the law allows to, have him at least move in the direction of satisfying that money judgment.
And finally, I think it's important to note one more point, if only because I know that there may be folks out there who may take pity on Giuliani. Keep in mind that what Freeman and Moss were seeking was their humanity that Giuliani so easily, casually stripped them of. They only ever wanted the nightmare that he and Trump put them through to end, and that's something that they made abundantly clear in the aftermath of the trial.
Money will never solve all of my problems. I can never move back into the house that I called home. I will always have to be careful about where I go and who I choose to share my name with. I miss my home. I miss my neighbors, and I miss my name. I've heard some of you. Don't be sad for me. Don't waste your time being angry at those who did this to me and my daughter. We are more than conquerors. Pray for us as we continue to fight the good fight of faith.
My name is Shay Moss. I spent 10 years as an election worker in Fulton County, Georgia. The lies Rudy Giuliani told about me and my mommy after the 2020 presidential election have changed our lives, and the past few years has been devastating. The flame that Giuliani lit with those lies and passed to so many others to keep that flame blazing changed every aspect of our lives. Our homes, our family, our work, our sense of safety, our mental health, and we're still working to rebuild. As we move forward and continue to seek justice, our greatest wish is that no one, no election worker or voter or school board member or anyone else ever experiences anything like what we went through. You all matter, and you are all important. We hope no one ever has to fight so hard just to get your name back. We're very grateful to the jury for taking the time out of their busy lives to do their civic duty, to listen to everything that we've been going through. I know I won't be able to retire from my job with the county like my grandmother did, but I hope by us taking these steps, these very big steps towards justice, that I can make her just as proud.
If you can't see the extent to which Giuliani has destroyed their lives, then you are not paying attention. And the saddest part is that it was all for nothing. It was in furtherance of blatant lies that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani were spreading because they were that desperate for scapegoats to try and prove their election lies. These disgusting men wanted so badly to retain their grip on power that they decided that destroying the lives of innocent women, like Freeman and Moss, was a price that they were willing to have them pay. And while the destruction of Giuliani's life is hardly a consolation for these Georgia election workers, it is at least some proof that accountability still exists. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.